Can't hear you. I can't hear you.
With community. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yeah.
Listen, I am about sick of Zoom. They changed the settings. It's like every time I come in here, the settings, I shouldn't have to keep messing with the settings. If you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. This is Trustee Adam Winston. It is 6:59. We're getting ready to start our session. We were supposed to have a special guest. She is not going to make it. So I am all you got this week. Me and you, Mr. Decker, how is the campaign trail going?
Well, it's been going great. Hang on, let me get my little tripod set up here. I'll go this way. I like it better that way. The Republicans have filed a countywide slate.
Wow.
And 9 more county commissioners.
And I'm assuming one of those is for 5th district.
Of course it is. So now the Democrats owe them a favor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's Cook County politics, man. I mean, I don't know if that's a state of Illinois thing or if that's federal, but I mean, if you're an established party, you don't collect signatures when you're supposed to, when the other established parties are doing so, they wait. You know, you could sit back in the shadows and pop out. We thought about running some more county commissioners because we needed such a low signature count for county commissioner districts. But we thought, no, if we wanted to run people, we'd run them, and nobody showed interest. And we're not, you know, as much as people want to call out us running Jesse White for Secretary of State. It's not a game. It's not, we don't do politics, you know?
So let me ask you, because I did hear something and I didn't understand it. So if you're a Republican and you're running for office, I thought that primary is already over.
The party itself can choose one candidate to basically, you know, slate, or I call it sneaking them in. You know,
even though the primaries is over, they can still.
Yep. As long as it's one. I mean, they can't put 2 up for you know, the same position, because then otherwise, yeah, they'd have to run a primary. I'll show you something interesting though. The former alderman and mayoral candidate, Bob Fioretti. Yeah. He's running for Cook County Board President.
Wow.
So none of the other names ring a bell, but I knew the name. I had to Google it. You know. So
listen, I can't say, and here's the thing, I can't say that you know, even though I wish I was officially the Bloom Township Committee person, right? I can't honestly tell you that I'm okay without being in this this mess right now, because the way I look at it is it gives me kind of a chance to regroup. Now it's interesting because over the weekend, I did see some of the people that were not helping me. They were not helping me. They were helping the person who ran against me. And I saw them and they just spoke to me just like, you know, I mean, like, I guess I'm just not pretty enough. You know what I mean? I always feel like when you're a candidate such as myself, and I'm you know, Jason, you're a Libertarian, I'm a Democrat. But I think that at the simplest of it, we both are 2 men, you know, trying to represent our communities at the highest level possible. And I've always often thought, like, what is it about me, right? Like what is it so difficult for why people don't say, oh, hey, we're going to support this guy, right? Someone who's actually doing the work, compared to some of the people that I see that are running. It's like they've never done anything, but yet you support them and they seem to get all of the support mobilized and they've never done anything. What is that about? Like, is this just me being hypersensitive, Jason, or have you recognized something kind of very similar? I mean, it just seems like
I had a couple acquaintances. I consider most people friends, even though they may just be an acquaintance, or I may just be an acquaintance to them, or just somebody they know. But I try to be friendly, and therefore, I try to be everybody's friend. But I've had a few acquaintances or friends tell me, flat out, I can't vote Libertarian. Some of their ideas are just a little too far out there, or too radical, and I try to, plead my case and say, listen, nobody follows platforms 100% on any party.
So what do you do in that situation, right? I mean, you can explain it to them. I mean,
I just brush it off, man. It's
brush it
politics,
off. Okay.
I mean, if the people you were talking about had told you they were going to help you, they were going to support you, they got your back, they put their hand on your shoulder and said, "We got you, Adam," and then flipped it around, that's kind of bogus, and that's not right. But when it comes to politics, like people say, you got no friends in politics.
There are none, right? And I think that the sooner people recognize that, like, again, Glenwood, if you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. This is Trustee Adam Winston. I am live on our Monday Tea and Conversation talking with Mr. Jason Decker. He is on, so please join. We have our subscribership has increased. So if you're on YouTube, I have welcome, okay, because I use the Zoom, but I'm trying to gravitate more and more over to that YouTube platform, because YouTube gives me much more. You can go back. It's easier to track it. It's just everything, right? But in any event,
is it easy to stream your Zoom straight to YouTube?
It is. If you have the right type of account, you can stream it directly to YouTube. I like it because it kind of creates that archives, which I need to start documenting. Okay, July 25th,
for the archives.
Yeah, for the archives, so that people can start looking at it and so on and so forth. But if you are just out there looking, this was a fun-filled weekend, Jason. We're going to get back. But Glenwood, if you had an opportunity, you could have joined. You could have stopped by. What was his name? It's Chug-a-Lugs in Glenwood. Chug-a-Lugs was off the chain. I don't know. Did you get a chance to hear about it, Mr. Decker? Because all the cool kids were in Glenwood this weekend.
I heard they had some noise complaints the next night.
listen, we gonna get to that, but here's my thought. Okay, here's my thought. Listen, you cannot. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. And I know I'm gonna get some stones thrown at me. Welcome to the show, Michelle and Miss Matt. Welcome to the show. But you're gonna get a couple of. You can't win. You got a nice place, and I hope you stop by there, Mr. Decker. Let me know when you're there. I'll join you.
I would like to throw an axe.
Listen, you can do that, but the axe throwing, it wasn't ready yet, so you can't throw an axe yet, because I guess that
they do have axe throwing, right?
They do have axe throwing, and then you have three floors of entertainment. You have the upstairs where you can smoke cigars up on the roof and you can listen to music. Then you have the middle floor, which is where I like to be a barfly. Because I can sit at the bar and I can talk trash. And then you have the lower level where you can throw axes and do the bowling. This weekend was their grand opening. So on Friday they opened. They had the ribbon cutting ceremony. I was at the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then I ended up being there the rest of the evening. I didn't have any friends to hang out with, Michelle and Cassandra and Jason. So I didn't have any friends. So I just kind of hung out, and then I made friends. And it was a good time. They stopped selling food or serving food, because I don't think that they really anticipated the turnout. So, and if you've been in the Glenwood, if you've seen this area, you've seen the transition. This was very refreshing. And I hope if you're watching, this was very refreshing, because that place was extremely packed. So that place was so packed this weekend that it was, they had to stop letting people in, right? And this is not the Chug-a-Lug show, but I got to give credit where credit's due. This new establishment, I think, if they can work out some of the bugs, and Michelle, you have attended, you were there with me yesterday. If they can work out some of the bugs, I think that this is a place where people are going to want to be at. What do you think, Michelle?
I enjoyed myself. I do like the place. There are some bugs that need to be worked out. But I think overall it's a very nice place, and it's a good addition to Glenwood.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of the bugs. We know that they ran out of food. Like on Saturday, they straight ran out of food. Okay.
Well, no, they ran out of food on Sunday. On Saturday, they closed the kitchen because they were behind on orders. I think you muted yourself, Adam.
Just one second. I'm sorry. I have my special guest. Go ahead and tell us about the food, but I have our guest is on the phone. So I'm trying to get up to speed to find out because I don't have a secretary. So Michelle, tell them about the place if you don't mind.
Okay, it's a very nice place. There was a good crowd on Saturday night. I was actually surprised at how many people were there. The food was very good. The drinks were good. As I said, they need to work out some kinks. They probably need some more servers, and they probably need to maybe just, I don't think they were prepared for the crowds that they got. There isn't really much more to say about that. So if you have any questions, I guess you can ask me. If I know the answer, I'll tell you. No? Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. You got dead air, Adam.
He's muted.
I know, but he can hear. Tim, did you come to Chuck-a-Luck this weekend? He's not answering.
Did I come?
No, I know you said you didn't come, but I was asking Tim because he is also a Glenwood resident, but he didn't answer, so I don't know. You're still Adam muted, Adam.
Somebody text him.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that was another guest. So that was not even our other guest. That was Mr. Boykins, the candidate who ran for president he ran against Tony Pretwinkle, and he was wondering if we were still doing the show. He told me to tell everybody hello. He's going to try to chime in. But in any event, if you were at this thing, and Michelle, I did hear you, and I beg your pardon for taking that call. Raggedy Ann doesn't take calls. If you were at this event, and Mr. Decker, you may want to consider having something there. I know that you are being a candidate running for office. That may be an opportunity for you to meet some people. But I drove by it today, Michelle. I don't know if you got an opportunity to ride by it on my way home. Well, I'm on my way to my other house. That place was packed today. So I mean, I know that I was under the impression that it was only going to be something, this newness has got to wear out. But there was standing room only today. There was no place to park at that place, which is going to be a problem. I understand the noise complaints, guys. I don't listen. I'm at the point right now. Like, you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. I understand that the apartments or condos behind the building, and they're like, oh, it's so noisy. Close the window. And I know I'm going to take a lot of heat for this, but we can't. This is Halstead. Like, don't we want a little buzz on the block? I know. I'm looking at the people over here in their comments over on Facebook. We need to be a little bit more vibrant as a community. I am over the boring old. I mean, I can't say old. Michelle, what's another name for old?
Elderly.
I mean, this is not a geriatric. This is not a senior. Is this a senior community?
Who are you asking?
We're having similar issues in Midlothian with a couple bars and people, because they live across the alley. Mm-hmm. And, it's basically at a discretion. We do have noise ordinances depending on the day of the week. At past a certain time, you can't be loud, but it's always been up to the discretion. The officer, determines, is this too loud? Does this break the ordinance or not? So what we're actually doing is we're going to put in a decibel rating or level And then the officers will have decibel readers, and where the complainant is calling, we're going to have a limit. If you live across the alley and it's past a certain level, then yes, we'll have them turn it down or shut it down. But because it's such a gray area of noise, obviously nobody wants to be bothered, but what is bothersome to one person may not be bothersome to another. And yes, we all like to have a good time, but there are some people who, work different shifts, or, I mean, I understand. I saw that video the lady posted, and from her video, it didn't sound very loud, but at the same time, it's through a video and then posted on Facebook. So either way, people do have the right to peace and quiet in their own residence. But
right. Well, so that's not. So for me, that's not the issue. My issue is you can't have it both ways, right? And my thoughts are, there are many times where I take my butt up north, and I go up north, Jason, because it's vibrant, Michelle. It's things to do. It's fun. I'm not, and I just had a birthday last Monday, so listen, I'm an older man, but I'm not an old man. I still would like to be able to do something close to home, right? And listen to some music, smoke a cigar, have some fun. It's only through the summer months that this would even be a problem, Michelle, right? Because in the winter months, there's not going to be a band on the rooftop, right? So during the few weeks of the month, and this place just opened, it's almost August, so it's not even going to be that long. But I just think that we're not focused enough on the value about bringing this type of business to Halstead, what it could do for our area. That's my thought. And I think that if this place gets their act together in terms of the food, right? Because they definitely have to get the food together. By the way, Michelle, I found out the young lady she used to work at one of my favorite places, the Station Bar and Grill over here in Glenwood, that young lady who was there yesterday. But in any event, if they get their act together, right, with the axe throwing, with the food, do a little bit in terms of expediting or navigating who's going to what floor, because right now it just seems like it's a lot going on. And like yesterday, if you had to stop by there on the floor that we were on, Michelle, it was empty. But then if you went upstairs, the roof was off the chains. Yes, Michelle, go ahead. Your hand's up.
So I just have a question regarding the noise. So the lady who posted that video, she posted that video at 9 o'clock, first of all. And I get It was Sunday night, but it was 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Not 1 o'clock. It was not 2 o'clock. It was 9 o'clock. And then the other thing is, this bar is on Halstead. Halstead is a major thoroughfare. And if you can't have a business on a major thoroughfare, where can you have it?
I guess she wants them to go to the industrial park. I don't know. Maybe
people live across the street from there too.
I don't know where they want them to go at some point. And that plaza, here's the thing. That plaza, Mr. Decker, how long you live in this area? That plaza has been empty and deserted for how long?
Where exactly is it at? By Menards?
It's like Halstead and 187.
By Menards.
No. You know where?
175th.
Yeah, you know where the Burger King is?
Yeah.
It's across. It's right next to Burger King.
Mr. Decker, you're gonna need to know this area.
I know it fairly well.
Okay.
I was just trying to place where the new establishment is.
Because you were making me nervous a little bit. Like, I mean, you need to be over here in this area stomping with the big dogs, right?
You know, my voter sheets for Glenwood are about 6 pages long. So
yes. and the people in Glenwood tend to vote. Okay, they
I know. Believe me, you know what? When I was door knocking there 2 weeks ago, I met 2 people who actually pulled Libertarian tickets and voted for me in the primary. They already knew who I was. Made my day.
What was their names?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, you should know the only 2. You should know the only 2.
Out of 3,500 people I've talked to so far.
Yes.
I'll never forget their faces. I never forget a face. But
Trustee Matt, you are on the line. You are in Olympia Fields. what kind of ordinances do you guys have in terms of businesses that are on governors? Like, are you guys, I mean, how do you guys kind of balance the like you got red, what is that? What is that? Red Bird or something?
Redwood Lux.
What is it called?
Redwood Lux.
Okay, so how do y'all balance noise complaints? I mean, I think they have music outside, don't they?
So we are a bedroom community, which means that we don't have all of that going on in our 3 square miles circumference community. It's quite tiny. We have Redwood Lux, like Michelle said, but that's inside. There's never any music outside.
Right.
So we don't have noise complaints. We don't have that. But what I don't understand is the people's impatience, their inability to wait this thing out and see how it all falls out. Like you said before, they're new. They're trying to get their footings under them. And this is such a thirst in the Southland for an establishment that's for 30 and over, that you're going to draw every community to this spot. And they were spot on by doing it. I just think they did not think about the crowd that they were going to get. They're pleasantly surprised, as well as shaking in their boots on how to manage this crowd. Them owning that whole shopping complex, or maybe that area where they're at, they could have done even more to kind of contain everything. And you made a great point that this noise is just for the summer months. People can't stand noise. I mean, you didn't hear anybody arguing or complaining about the noise of the fireworks, right? And the loud music of the fireworks, because they knew that was temporary.
And it freaks my dog out.
Temporary. Huh?
And it freaks my dog out. My dog goes crazy.
Right. So people just need to check themselves. I mean, what's the other alternative? Shut them down? What's the other alternative? Like run them away?
And that's what I'm thinking. It's day three. Yeah. Day 3. First thing, as I walked around there yesterday, and I feel like they should hire me, because I felt like an ambassador, Jason. I'm walking around there, and everybody's like, "Hey, Adam." And I'm like, "Hey." I felt like I was right at home, Michelle, right? Because I was in my neck of the woods, right? So a lot of those people, I knew them from our neighborhood.
In case you guys don't know, Adam, he thinks he's the president of everything.
I had on my tiara. I am the president, okay? So as I walk through there, okay, and I've seen so many people, and a lot of those individuals were from neighboring communities, Flossmoor, Olympia Fields, Matheson, all of these individuals from different communities, and Glenwood. Some of the people there, Michelle, didn't even realize that they were actually in Glenwood. So that was really shocking, because a number of the people were like, "This is Homewood, right?" And I'm like, "No, this is Glenwood. Welcome to our community, blah, 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 blah." That is encouraging, right? Because I think that Glenwood needs to be known for something. That's the start.
I think you guys should do a meeting with the establishment and the residents, just to sit down and have a conversation, tea and conversation. Just have a conversation so that the residents understand that they're not here to cause any type of malice. We are an added plus to the community. First of all, you're bringing people to the community that didn't even know Glenwood existed, didn't even know that they're not Homewood, like you said. And now they might look at the home stock there. Oh, this is a cool area. We have all these amenities. Let's see what the area has to offer as of me buying a home. It's so much plus to this that the negative that people are complaining about is so minute. If they just sit down and have a conversation, and this is what I don't understand. People want to bring, rope to a lynching. I mean, why do all of that when we can just have a conversation?
Yeah, I do think you're absolutely right. Folks are just premature. I mean, I have never seen so much premature. It's like they're looking for the flaw. I even met somebody from Glenwood yesterday who even said, "Oh, it's gonna be." And Jason, this was I mean, you're older than me. These people were the old heads, Jason. I mean, they were like you. They were, they had their grand, bouncing on their lap. It was a very mature crowd. Michelle, I'm not making this up. It was a mature crowd of people. And yet you still had people who were like, oh my God, is something going to happen up here? And I'm like, well, why are you thinking that way? Like, oh my God, they don't have their food there. It's day 3. They opened up, they literally did a ribbon cutting at 3:00 on Friday. There's no way if I opened up a business in Glenwood, which I have a business in Glenwood, and I was going to open up another one right in the same area. There's no way that they could have anticipated the amount of people. Michelle, do you think that they could have possibly anticipated the number of people that were there?
No.
There's no way.
I absolutely do not.
You had a line wrapped around the building on Saturday night. You had yesterday, there was so many people upstairs on the roof. Hopefully they got it reinforced. I don't know.
The roof is fine, Adam. Don't say that. Don't
the roof
start
was on fire.
that.
We didn't need no water. Okay, the roof was on fire. The people were enjoying themselves. The only one thing that was missing was there was not enough food. And if they had food, Jason, I tell you, I think those people would have stayed the night. Okay, if they ran out of food, they were only serving pizza after 6 p.m. last night because it was just that many people. I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting for Glenwood. I think it's exciting for the people in this area that went to Lassen's, that went, I don't even know what the hell is going to happen to the Tender Trap. I don't even know what's going to happen. When the last time you been at the Tender Trap, Jason?
About, I think I was in there one time back in like 07, 08.
Yeah.
But you know, Trustee, this is very exciting. The community should embrace this as an exciting establishment that we can wrap our arms around, which now will bring other ideas to people to have other businesses that could complement this business, right?
Absolutely.
You know, here in Olympia Fields, you know, we just had a grand opening for our ice cream shop, right? So this is the type of what we command over here, because my area is geriatric. We are a senior community. The minimum age over here is 55. So
So Trustee Matt, have you been to that ice cream joint? Do they have, because you're a senior community, do they have black licorice ice cream?
Absolutely not. Nobody eats black licorice ice cream or peppermint ice.
I thought they had like caramel square or and black licorice ice cream, you know.
But it is a Black-owned establishment. I was going all the way to the city to buy their ice cream on 47th Street. And I am so elated that they have taken up residence here in Olympia Fields. Also, if you are aware of Lawrence Fishery, that's supposed to come to Olympia Fields too. And that was old staple. That was an old staple when I was kicking it back in college, where you party all night and you wound up at Lawrence Fishery to get their shrimp after 2 a.m. So we're excited. So what we're attracting over here is a little bit different than the youth over in Glenwood. And I say youth because you guys have young families over here. And by us being so small, landlocked, we are looking at destination businesses. So people will travel to come over here for a Lawrence Fishery, right? It's not just a regular fish place. They would travel to come over here to get the ice cream because it's not a Baskin Robbins where you get it everywhere. This is homemade ice cream. By the way, I am stuck on their banana pudding, so I have to limit myself. It is delicious. So if you guys get a chance, it's right there on Vollmer Road, right where the old Baskin and Robbins 31 flavors or whatever that ice cream was. I did not frequent it, but it's right there. So come on down. Get some ice cream.
Trustee Matt, is there any way to get them to invite them on? Because I'd love for
absolutely.
Right. I would love for them to come on and let people know that they're there. So if there's a way that I could reach out to them to make them aware of that because a lot of people just don't know that they're there. And
they were featured on Channel 7 News this past Saturday.
Okay. And what did what was the public saying about it?
Well, they were doing a grand opening and a taste testing or something like that this past Saturday. And they were on the news Saturday morning.
Okay. I would love for them to get on. Trustee Matt, what about the Karen's? I know Karen was on here not too long. Do you have any updates? Do we need to reach back out to her to find out when she's going to be opening? Have you heard anything?
No, I have not heard anything. Just a caveat that is Flossmoor. It's not Olympia Fields.
I kind of tend to lump Flossmoor and Olympia Fields together. I know you're separate, but it's so close because I think right across the street, right? You got the Flossmoor Commons, and then you have so you're right there in that same proximity. I know I was at Cairo 1 this morning. They kicked me out. I was taking out me and my sons. I was in the grocery store, and the lady, they had this person standing in the grocery store, and she's like, "Oh, your shoulders are off." She said that I was standing crooked or what have you. So she's like, "Give me $40 and come and get your shoulders realigned." So I went there this morning at 7:30 in the morning over there. That Cairo 1, that's in Olympia Fields, right? I think that's in
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was there, and then they told me they couldn't do anything about for me, and they gave me my money back.
Well,
totally wasted my time here.
Well, I'm glad that you came over to our community.
I did, but you know what? Trustee Matts, they were trying to send me over on Cicero, and I'm like, well, there's one right here in Olympia Fields. Why would I go to that one way over there when I could go right here in Olympia Fields? If you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. This is Trustee Adam Winston. I am glad that you are on the show. I don't know who ILD is. You got the same name as Adam. I did type some comments in there, but if you're a guest, please respond to my comment because I try to control who's in the room, and I want to acknowledge you if you are a person that's running for office.
I am not. Sorry, Jason had invited me to the meeting. My apologies for being.
Oh, no worries. ILD. Sometimes you got people who bomb these shows, and I just want to make certain that that I don't ignore you, and I'm welcoming you to the show. But and we're just having a casual conversation. So if you have anything to add, feel free, because we don't have any guests. Mr. Boykins, Trustee Matts, did just reach out to me, and I'm certain that he's going to be reaching out to you soon. And I had a defense attorney who was supposed to be on tonight. She was invited on a few months ago, and she wanted to come on tonight, but then I guess she's dealing with a big case up north. So there's a lot still going on. We are just talking about Glenwood. I am a trustee here in the village of Glenwood. Glenwood just opened up, in Glenwood, a young man opened up a place called Grub, and nobody's talking about the name anymore, interesting enough, Michelle, because a lot of people is like, we hate the name, Chug-a-Log. Why would he name it Chug-a-Log? Why didn't he name it Eating on the Roof at the Green or something? I don't know, but Chug-a-Logs work. Hell, there's nobody complaining about the noise. They were complaining about not getting enough food. So, but if you had an opportunity to get there over this weekend, it was something to see. I have to say I was there 3 days in a row. I spent a little more than I would have liked, especially yesterday, Michelle, when they charged me full price. But other than that, it was a great time, and it was something that I hope that everyone has an opportunity to at least stop by, even if it's just for a moment, to see how things are going. Baseball season is over for me, guys. My kids have actually, unfortunately, we didn't survive the playoffs, and unfortunately, the kids are, they're gone fishing. Okay, so I am happy to be back here on Mondays, on Wednesdays, on all of these different days where I was trying to juggle all those different things. And that's why, Jason, I tell you, I am not, even though I would have liked to have won, I am not necessarily, I'm kind of enjoying this little break because I have to run for office again.
No, I get
Labor Day.
I kind of feel the same way. I had a couple of people. So what are you going to do when you lose? I don't know, go back to work. I mean, or keep working, I should say. I didn't stop working, I wanted to say a couple of things, though. I will definitely be traveling for some Lawrence's, Trustee. I love Lawrence's. It's a far drive, but whenever I used to work downtown, I used to make it a point to stop in there and get a pound of shrimp.
Well, that's so interesting. So let's talk about that for a minute. because I used to like Lawrence before they cleaned it up. I don't like it anymore. I would rather go to Calumet Fisheries or what is it, Goose Island? What is that one called? Is it Goose Island Fisheries? I don't know. Cassandra, you know which one I'm talking about?
I do not. I don't eat meat or fish.
Right. Michelle, do you know which one? I forgot. You eat all plants. Michelle, do you know the one, the Goose Island one?
I do know it. I don't eat it, but I do know it.
So once Lawrence Fisheries, they really, and I don't know if the last time you go there, I really enjoyed it. And I don't know if they're going to have the same type of hours that they had, and hopefully they're going to have the same hours, right, Trustee Matz, as the one up there on the south side?
I doubt it. They were open almost 24 hours. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you know what? It's not until some of these businesses. You said what now?
I'm sorry.
Aren't they still open 24 hours on 22nd Street?
They are, and so
Yeah,
and I think that was the hitch for them, right? Being open, just like Maxwell, being open overnight. I don't know if it's enough traffic to make it worth their while, but I think that like with Grub and Pub or Grubhub or what is the name, Chug-a-Lug, they're going to be staying open to 2 to extend these hours. I think that everybody goes to sleep because there is nothing to do. But I do think that people would stay out if there were something to do.
So considering that Olympia Fields is a bedroom community, senior community, we're asleep by 10 o'clock. So who would be coming to eat at 2, 3 in the morning? Youth, right? So now you would have everybody shaking in their boots that you got young people coming to the community. So I doubt if that would be allowed. Adam, we see you talking on the phone. Okay.
You didn't see me doing anything. I covered up my mouth. You didn't see me doing anything. Listen, that's the young man who's supposed to be doing my garden. He's supposed to be doing my community garden at my new house. And he's late, okay? And he was calling in, and I did one of these. Cassandra, you're not supposed to wrap me out. But in any event, it would be nice if we start doing some of these different things a little bit longer. Maybe with the casino, those type of hours would be more welcome, because I think that most of the people that go to the casinos, they don't want anybody to see them, right, Jason? So they go at 12 o'clock at night, that way nobody sees them spending the rent money on gaming.
You know what they say? If you got to hide it from anybody, you shouldn't do it in the first place.
Yeah. Well, Jason, that they say that, then most of us, we shouldn't be doing half of the things that we do.
I sleep good at night.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
and listen, I sleep good at night, and I'm still hiding something. If you're just joining, welcome to TA Conversation. This is Trustee Adam Winston. We are just having casual conversation. Michelle, so at next board meeting, what are we going to have to say? I mean, somebody's going to come up to you. They're going to come up to me. They're going to say, hey, we want this place. We did it. Now, we just recently did it with this other bar over there. And we told them that we gave them a license restrictor. The mayor had us create a fake, I'm not going to say a fake liquor license, but a unique liquor license just for that one particular establishment. Do you see that happening?
I certainly hope not, Adam. I certainly hope not. I hope that there's a way that, personally, I was there. I did not feel like the music was terribly loud, but I don't live there. So I can't speak for the people who live there. Hopefully there's a way that maybe, on Saturdays, I don't know how you restrict the music. On Fridays, I don't know how you restrict the music. But if it's, Sunday through Thursday, maybe there's the music volume comes down after 10. And maybe on Fridays and Saturdays, it comes down after midnight, a little bit or whatever. But to change their liquor license, that's not fair. They just opened. So they got to work this out. And then two, again, this is hosted. This is not like this place was opened on, Minerva Street or Roberts Road or Arquilla. This is hosted. If we can't have a business, then what can we have? I don't want to pay higher taxes. I need something to offset it.
Right. Well,
there's going to be a casino down the street. People are going to be coming in droves. We want that money in our community. I don't understand. I don't know what people want.
Some people just like to complain.
So I'm just going to show you guys. If I want to show you the video that was seen, and here it is. Then you tell me what you think.
This is at night. Too freaking loud. This is at night.
So what did you think? Okay, that was actually the video. That was the video. Did you guys see it?
Not really. It was hard.
We couldn't hear the music. We couldn't hear the music.
Okay, let me try it again. Okay, so I'm gonna try.
But I
it again.
did see the video on Facebook, and I could definitely hear the music. But again, it was 9 o'clock when she posted that video.
If you're going to enforce noise ordinance, you have to have a standard or some sort of. That's why I said earlier about Midlothian. We are actually going to put a decibel level from certain positions where obviously they're not going to stand right in front of the speaker with their meter, but they're gonna test the meter wherever that person's calling from, whether it's across the alley, whether it's down the street. Because we also have people who, I mean, Midlothian, we have a lot of big parties. I mean, you drive through Midlothian on a weekend, even last night, Sunday at 9 o'clock at night, the one block over. It seems like every Sunday they have a huge party. The whole street's full of cars, and you could hear the music even with the doors and windows closed. But by 9:30, 10 o'clock, you don't hear it anymore.
Okay, I'm going to try this video one more time. Tell me if you can see it, okay?
We were able to see it before. We just couldn't hear the music. We could only
hear her. I have it all the way turned up. Can you hear it?
No.
Wow.
Listen, that's the best I could do, right?
Night.
And unfortunately, I and I'm not making light. Believe me, if I lived there, I guess I would have some issues with. Hopefully, I'm back here, so hopefully you can see me. But I don't know. I didn't really. I mean, even with the video, you heard the jazz in the background. It was very light jazz. And like you said, Michelle, at that particular time, it was still fairly early. Actually, the sky was still, I think I still see blue skies. Michelle?
It's not going to help you.
I think the sky is still blue.
Maybe, I don't know. I have to look at it again.
Yeah. So my thoughts are if this is going to be I want the business to succeed, and I don't think that this was enough. And maybe it was because I like jazz, Jason. Maybe that's what I just like jazz, and in that music, it sounded like a little bit of George Benson right there, and I've heard worse I've heard worse music and louder music at the traffic light next to me.
And that was the other thing I was going to say. I'm sure that plenty of cars drive down Homestead with music that will shake your house, because I know they do it on this expressway.
Well, and how loud was it with the window closed? Because that was with the window open.
Right.
So,
but here's the thing, and I don't want to make light of it because I know I'm gonna have to make amends after this. But some of the comments were in there. Oh my God, I couldn't take that. They've been open 2 days. You couldn't make this up. I mean, it's just, Adam Winston and Mayor Gardner, you need to fix this.
It's unfairly ridiculous that the response from being open 2 days I mean, that's just like in the summertime, people have entertainment in their backyard. So you're going to shut down your neighbor? I'm going to have a band back here, and the band is not going to be muted. It's going to be on full blast. So you're going to call the police? I mean, what we doing?
Yes, they literally called the police. They did. They did call the police, and I suggested that they call the police once they pinged me in that message. You got to call the police because you may not want to call Ghostbusters. You got to call the police. And they did say that the issue was resolved, and I'm glad that the issue was resolved. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. But I'm wishing that organization, I'm wishing that Chug Hug, Group Pub, Chug-a-Lugs, I hope they do great because I really enjoyed it. I ordered an enormous, Michelle, I didn't care for those ribs. By the way, they were a little too tough, but I did order a lot of different food dishes so that we could try many things. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the atmosphere, the mature crowd. It had a classy vibe. I think that is going to do very well. If you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. You are here live with Trustee Adam Winston. I am going to do something at that park. Listen, I turned, what do we call this? What's the cool way to say 50, Jason? Is it a half a century?
50 is cool. 50 is cool.
Okay.
50.
I turned the new 25, Jason.
50. It sounds strong. 50.
50. I turned 50. Okay. So I am going to do something, Michelle. I decided today, with the help of one of my friends, to do something at Chug-a-Hugs or Chug-a-Lugs for my 50th. So I'll do something on a Saturday.
They're not going to let you do anything there if you keep messing up their name. No, real quick though, I did, Adam, I know it's the Adam Winston Show, Tea and Conversation.
No worries. It's our show.
I did invite Adam Balling on because he is the chair of the Cook County Libertarians. And there you go, 50 used to be the new 30, inflation. But with the day's developments in the countywide races and all the commissioner candidates, I invited him. Maybe he can explain it a little more.
I would love for him to say, now, Mr. Adam. I mean, first thing, you got to be a guy who that we're friends because you and I have the same name. Even though I'm a Winston, you're a B.
There you go.
You're always at the front of the line. Where if they call by the last name, I'm in the front of the line. If they call by the first name, I'm in the front of the line. So I have options. Unlike you're AB, I'm AW. But in any event, that's probably, you probably don't understand where I'm going with this. Why don't you tell us a little bit? Don't worry about the babies. We've all on here had some babies at some time that made a lot of noise on that airplane. Tell us what's going on. And you're frozen, or unless you're playing the mannequin challenge.
No, I think he froze.
Well, when Adam gets unfrozen, hopefully he can share it with us.
There we go. I think I can hear you again better now.
Okay, I thought you were doing the mannequin challenge. My fault.
Well, as Jason invited me to the meeting, thank you again for having me on. I'm actually the vice chair of the Cook County Libertarians and chair of the Chicago chapter. But yes, we were keeping an eye on nominations for vacancies because the Republicans had not run any candidates for anything other than a couple of county commissioner seats back in the primaries. And then lo and behold, this afternoon, they showed up with a full county-wide slate and 9 more commissioner candidates. Several of them are former Democratic candidates, most notably Bob Fioretti running for board president. Now, he'd run in the Democratic primary for state's attorney 2 years ago against Kim Foxx. He had served as a Chicago alderman for many years. He'd run for mayor of Chicago a number of times. So they have pulled together a Republican ticket seemingly out of thin air in the last 30 days. I mean, if you go to Bob Fioretti's Facebook page, they haven't updated it for him running for board president. It still says he's the candidate for state's attorney in 2020. Tony Perica, who ran for board president in either 2006 or 2010, it's been a little while. He is running for county clerk. There's a man named Lupe Aguirre who had run in a Democratic primary for county commissioner in 2018, who will be the Republican nominee for county sheriff, and so on and so forth. And there was in Jason's district, down your way, in the south suburbs, a woman in Flossmoor who is the sudden Republican nominee for county commissioner in the 5th district.
So that's Jennifer, right? That's Jennifer.
Yeah.
What? And so she's in Flossmoor. She lives out in Flossmoor. And so, if you don't mind, Adam, and I thank you for joining us on TN Conversation. Sir. What I want to know is why do they think that? Do they see vulnerabilities? Why run a Republican candidate in a really, really heavily Democratic area?
I can only wonder if they thought that they looked weak for the fact that they weren't even trying in what they figured would be a big wave year nationwide, but where they weren't really going to make a showing here in Cook County, even though they put all this energy into running statewide. Like we saw with the gubernatorial campaign.
Yeah.
That was a really heated primary, but they hit the snooze button on Cook County, which is 40% of the state's population, and I think it looks like a joke. Now, when it comes to the district levels, why they think that, if I remember correctly, I haven't looked back all the years, but Deborah Sims did not even have a challenger in the general election 4 years ago in 2018. So this has got to be an uphill climb for them.
Well, 2018, she did. She had, I think it was Tim Allen. No, what was his name? Tim Parker. Tim Parker. I think Tim Parker challenged her twice.
Was that in the Democratic primary and not in the general election?
Only in the Democratic primary, yes.
Got it. So it's utterly bizarre. I don't know if they were afraid of being upstaged by the smaller, scrappier, more independent, Libertarian Party, a more grassroots organization without establishment money. But it looks like they've put together a rather bizarre Republican ticket for Cook County very quickly. And that they had to go, if they're recruiting people like Bob Fioretti and Lupe Aguirre, that they had to recruit some people from well outside of the usual spots, the usual Republican ranks, if they're recruiting former Democrats.
So, and right now, I guess, I don't even know what's going on. I do feel, and Trustee Matz, I don't know if you want to chime in here, but I do feel like there's somewhat of a civil war going on in the Democratic Party, right? I feel like you have the Robin Kelly group, and then you have the governor's group of individuals, right? So I feel like something is going on there, right? And I think that I don't know if that's why the Republicans are feeling like that there's some vulnerabilities here. I don't know if it changes anything, if it changes the landscape of this particular race or what have you. What's your feelings, Cassandra? Do you feel like people are just kind of sick of Democrats right now in Cook County?
There's a change of guards right now, and people are scrapping to see who is the next ring kisser. And so therefore you do have those fashions of the governor against Dick Durbin. It's not even Robin Kelly. It's the two jockeying for a position to take Madigan's place. Because as you know, Dick Durbin was like the senior leader, but he came here and he was bussed down to, kiss the ring of Madigan, right? And so now Madigan is gone. Now who is taking that spot? The Democratic Party saw, and they were scrambling, especially when the brilliant idea of getting petitions to the winter months. That polar vortex was hell of out there. And for people who had not gotten a petition signed since Jesus wore sandals themselves, they were scrambling because they no longer had that engine behind them when they got rid of Madigan. So the Republicans are seeing that is a fracture happening in the Democratic Party, and they're trying to mobilize to seize the moment. Because while you have this infighting, what are you not looking at? The bird in the hand. Because everybody's scrapping for the two birds in the bush.
And Adam Balling, I don't know if you've noticed, but in some of these races across the country, the Republicans have been able to sneak people in.
Yes.
So Donald Trump, people are saying, hey, he's going to jail. I don't know. I think that he's been fairly successful at getting those candidates that he supports in the office. Are any of these candidates getting any backing from Donald Trump? Do you know?
We don't know about that yet. Now, this is a story that is developing because it's only a few hours old. You know, they were petitioning very quietly and then turned it in today, which was the last day. But I had not heard of any Trump endorsements. However, that is worth following up. I thought it was more telling that they were recruiting, like I said, people like Fioretti, who were sort of rather bland Chicago establishment politicians, and just getting them to switch party labels, which is a different kind of creature. There was one gentleman who had lost in a congressional primary back in, well, I guess just last month in the 8th district. Peter Kafastris, I believe is his name. But if he had lost a congressional primary, I don't think he was, shall we say, a national heavyweight yet.
Right. Wow. So it's a lot going on. I don't know. Again, and to be honest with you, Cassandra, should we care?
Nope.
That's what I was thinking.
Absolutely not.
I mean,
You know,
and I don't mean to be. You know what? I mean, I watched this thing with such a. I'm a Democrat, Adam, Jason, y'all know I'm a Democrat. Tim, I don't care. I'm a Democrat. I'm an unapologetic Democrat. I'm a progressive, a conservative Democrat, but I'm a Democrat nonetheless. But some of the craziness that I've been seeing, right? Some of the flat tires that we've been pushing up hills, I'm over it. I don't really care. Okay. And I think that right now, I think that that's the sentiment. Jason, when you're out there beating the pavement, when you're, hey, I'm Mr. Decker, I'm running as a Libertarian. What do they say? I don't give a damn. We just need help. What are they saying?
Oh, when that gets discussed, I mean, most people just kind of brush that off as me being independent, which is fine, you know, for the time being. But, you know, I've had people say, are you Republican or Democrat? I say, I'm Libertarian. They look at me and kind of shrug their shoulders, say, okay, because they're tired of the two-party system. And this exact situation is why people are sick of the two parties, because they obviously work together. They obviously do each other favors, which is fine. Everybody's for, you know, bipartisan, let's cross over the aisle, let's do this. But the fact that they are constantly putting forth effort and energy and money to keep, as Adam called us, the grassroots organization, the true party of the people. We're all working class. We all have full-time jobs. We haven't been groomed into politics. We haven't been brought up the ranks and kissing rings and bowing down and being quiet when we're supposed to. And yet we're all a very broad spectrum of ideas. None of us agree 100% on anything, like most groups of people. But ultimately, we are the party of the people. And this proves that they don't want us in the marketplace of ideas. The marketplace of ideas it has tall walls built around it, and they constantly add bricks to keep people like me and you, Adam, out of that marketplace of ideas.
So let me ask you, okay, because and Jason, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you being open enough to allow us to ask questions, because many of the people, they just don't know enough about libertarians. We just see the let me see, what's a very easy word to say? The lunatics, okay? We just see the extreme side of some of the libertarians.
Anarchists. We're all anarchists.
Yeah, we only see those.
Destroy the government and hand out AR-15s to everybody.
Whoever was doing your marketing in the 90s, along with Ross Perot, they just mucked some things up. But in any event, to meet Adam Balling and you, Mr. Decker, and be able to actually have some civil discourse is refreshing, because I think that's what kind of ran a lot of people away from even considering the Libertarian Party. What is the fundamental difference between, you say you're the party of the people, Democrats say they're the party of the people, hell, they all say they're the party of the people. Tell me, what is the difference between what your party or the party that you champion stands for than, say, the Democratic Party?
Well, I'll honestly, I'll defer that to Adam because he can answer that way better than I can. I mean, I can give you example after example and compare and contrast all day. We don't have enough time. Everybody knows me, knows I talk a lot. But to be focused and give a more precise answer, Adam can break down the big overall differences on why we are truly the party of the people.
Okay, Mr. Adam, go ahead. Tell me what's the difference if you can.
Yes, I will try my best. We place a lot of emphasis in the Libertarian Party on personal freedom above just about everything else. And if you contrast that with the two major parties, and I'm trying to say this way that's not insulting or inflammatory, the Democratic Party tries to offer a message with a lot more of, government spending and government programs to try and help look out for people, whereas we're skeptical of that. The Republicans sometimes claim to be skeptical of that, but, sorry, my toddler's making some noise. The Republicans, it is very clear from their record in office, spend all kinds of government money, or really spend all kinds of taxpayer money on programs that they like, and on conservative social projects that they think are important, even if it means pulling the rug out from under the people and their expectations. We're an anti-tax party. We're very wary of public spending. We're an anti-war party and an anti-corruption party, and we'll go for personal freedom over just about anything. That's the quickie version.
Well, a lot to learn here. I don't know how you pay for streets and roads, though. And Adam, you have to come back on here when we got more time to explain how you pay for some of these things. Government, in my opinion, Michelle, I see your hand. I'm going to get right to you. Mm-hmm. Government, and this is where I get stuck at which way to go, right? Government at a very primitive state is to take care of the most vulnerable. Who's going to pay? Who's going to put a sidewalk in front of a house that isn't theirs, right? So you would hope that you would have a unified group of people looking out for the greater good that way. And I'm using sidewalks as an example, but that way everybody has access to can get down the street. So that requires a level of tax. I am not for overtaxation, and I don't believe that to just taxing people out of their situation or taxing our way out of a financial crisis is the best solution. I think that we need a little bit more creativity. Michelle, you had your hand up. What did you say?
I just had a question for Mr. Balling.
Yes, ma'am.
You sort of touched on social programs, saying that, Democrats they talk about social programs, but, maybe they don't get what they want. And then Republicans they have maybe favorite social programs that they care about, but not overall social programs. But you did not say what the Libertarians' view on social programs is. And I'm very curious about that, because the first thing you said was basically somewhere along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, but just autonomy, where every person is responsible for themselves, which is fine to some extent, but there has to be, like Adam says, some kind of safety net for the most vulnerable.
It's a fair question. And there are some people who would give an idealistic answer where we're sort of starting from zero, where no social programs ever existed or no government spending ever existed. I usually tackle this from a different direction and say, look, we're living in an American society where I think about, in any given year, 40% of gross domestic product is driven by federal, state, and local government spending combined, which is huge, but we have so little stability for the outcome that has provided. I'll use an example. It's fairly recent, something that was sort of a new policy out of thin air, the payroll protection programs during quarantine and lockdown, where a sort of hastily assembled bill where, what was it? You had to keep 3/4 of your staff at a time when a lot of places like restaurants that were taking these loans couldn't keep up with the volume. It was just a very hastily assembled, expensive public loan program, and that it ended up being used by a lot of the large corporations, much more so than the small businesses. So it sort of was a noble sounding idea, but then it got scooped up by more powerful interests in practice. And for a small time operator, like owner of a family restaurant, keeping 3/4 of your staff when you only had 1/4 of your customer receipts or business coming in any given month during 2020 or so was just impossible for them to keep up with. I would advise for a lot of that stuff, whether it's the roads or a lot of the social programs, decentralizing them to some extent, because not just decentralizing them, the fewer things that government is trying to do, it might do some of them better. I mean, I know I live up here across the county a bit, but up here, even in the city of Chicago, there's a lot of public construction projects that seem to take forever. So I on the one hand, understand that yes, government is performing that role of helping to push these construction projects along, to hire the firms and buy the materials. But when it takes them, 3 years to do a small railroad overpass by 2 not very large streets, it certainly doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me that that's faster than someone else handling it more quickly, or maybe just a reinvented approach to government by trying not to micromanage so many things. I'm sorry if that was a rambling answer.
Well, Mr. Adam and Jason, I'm going to get to you right now. I saw your hand, but Adam, I do have a question from one of our guests. What community do you live in?
So I'm up on the north side of Chicago, pretty far from Jason's district. I am sort of near the Ravenswood neighborhood, if you know the area.
I know the area.
Okay, yeah. And going for a walk with my feisty young girl.
No worries. Mr. Decker, Mr. Decker, go ahead with your question.
Well, kind of to answer Michelle's question, as I've said many times, libertarians are a spectrum. And I believe kind of what Adam touched on was the fact that not all, and I would say most libertarians that I know that I've had these conversations with are not anti-tax. We don't want to get rid of taxes and just fend for ourselves and hope that, I don't have that faith. As I've said many times, we need social safety nets. We do need government. We do need police. We do need people to help protect our rights. And we also need to protect the vulnerable and help the vulnerable. However, as Adam said, most of these programs and most of these systems that have been put in place are mismanaged. There's a lot of people collecting a paycheck that do a minimal amount of work simply based on who they know, or they've been brought up through the system. And there's little to no oversight. And they constantly take more and more money. I myself have used those social safety nets, both food stamps and Medicaid. Okay, I for one, this libertarian is not for getting rid of social safety nets, because I don't have that enough faith in my fellow humans that if we just got rid of all these government programs that and we were taxed less, that this extra money we all discovered in our paychecks every week, that we would out of the kindness of our heart donate to private organizations that would then take the place of these social government programs.
Yes.
No. I mean, people are going to take extra vacation. We saw it with the PPP money.
Yeah.
I know contractors who didn't lose a day of work that collected 7 figures from PPP loans and took nice vacations to Mexico. They bought brand new trucks for their business, because the only catch was that PPP loan, you had to use it for payroll. You didn't have to pay it back as long as you used it for payroll. And myself, as a small business owner, my wife applied for that 3 times and we didn't get anything.
Yeah, and I applied and I didn't get anything. I didn't get enough. I got a little 10. But thank you, Jason, for that. But I remember. I know it's late. I remember, Michelle, and I don't know if you remember when we first started doing these shows on Monday, And one of the proverbial questions that I asked was, who is the government? And this is where I kind of always push back. That really the issue isn't the government, because really, if the government operates like the Constitution says, we the people, right? So we may elect people like Adam Winston to kind of act as gatekeepers doing the government's business, but the people have got to start recognizing that they're ultimately in charge, and ultimately they have the ability to fire and hire those people that are going to represent them to the best of their ability. The problem, in my humble opinion, the problem I think with government right now, and when I say government, I'm talking about people. So I'm not talking about this fictitious, the man. No, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about all of the people that are listening to me and the ones that live next door to you, the ones that walk the street and all the other. We're the government. Until we start recognizing that that's what we are, aren't we always going to have this problem, Michelle?
I can really not answer that question. I mean, ultimately, yeah, the answer is yes. We're gonna have the problems if people don't change.
Yeah.
But
we do the same thing. We go right into the boat. We don't know. And we talked about this last week, Mr. Decker, where people go into the polls. They have this sense of obligation that I'm gonna go vote, but they don't know who the hell they're voting for, right? They just go in there, they just check a box. I did my duty, but they haven't taken enough time. Just like if you go in to take the test to do a math test, but you didn't study at all, what's the point, right? You at least got to study. Otherwise, you don't even give yourself a chance at all to pass the test. But you can say, "Oh, at least I took the test."
With everything else, with rights come responsibilities.
Yes.
So when we use the right to vote, you are then responsible who you vote for. I got
Absolutely.
a buddy. I got a buddy. I don't really talk to him much more, but I remember when he would go and vote, he would literally vote whoever was on the bottom. So if it was a three-way race, he would pick number 3. If it was a two-way race, he'd pick number 2. Just, he didn't care.
But at least he had a system.
No, but that's the whole point, though, of you don't take responsibility. When you vote, you're hiring somebody. When somebody's running for office, they're applying for a job and they're looking for you to hire them. You're choosing to hire them. Now, because voting is private, nobody has to take ownership of that, right? And most people who vote for a candidate, can do no wrong. If they do good things, they're going to brag about it. If they do bad things, they're just going to keep their mouth shut or make excuses for why that person did whatever they did. We looked at that with our last president. He said it himself. He could throw a baby off a bridge and he'd still have supporters. But unfortunately, Washington, D.C., and a lot of people say Springfield even is compromised. They've been sold out. They've been bought out, whatever it is. But these local elections, these regional elections, especially the second largest county in the country by population, we see political games being played. As Adam said, these candidates were former Democrats who were probably, I really hate to speculate, but you can assume conversations were had on why these people were chosen to run. Why now? Why didn't they petition when petitioning time was happening? Why did they do it? Why did they, as I say, sneak in to split the votes and keep people like us out of the marketplace of ideas?
What is the Aurora mayor doing now?
I don't know.
Mr. Irvin? Yeah, I haven't followed him since he lost the primary a few weeks ago.
Right. So, I mean, he ran as a Republican. It just seems like this is the same thing that we're talking about with Bob Fioriti. He jumped over there. He got attacked in so many different ways. He got attacked from the right. He got attacked from the left. He was like one of those Bob, what do you call it, bumper cars, where he was just in a pool of sharks. But what I'm saying is, where does he go once he jumps off the Democratic train and jumps into the Republican train? Does that hurt his chances? What next? He's coming over there with you, Jason, to be a Libertarian?
In my opinion, he loses credibility as a voter. I tell people all the time, I consider myself a recovering Democrat. I was born and raised a Democrat. My family was Democrats. We were taught and shown that the Democrats were the hardworking, blue collar, working class party of the people. And as I grew up and became an adult, I kind of strayed and became independent, and then I found the Libertarian Party. But I've been approached by one person more than once to run Republican. You're never going to win as a Democrat. You won't even get 5%. You won't even hit 10% as a Libertarian. Come run with the Republicans. And I say no. I would rather get 5% every 4 years than ever put an R or a D by my name.
Wow, that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong.
Well, can I ask you a personal question? What might be personal? Would you ever run as a Republican, Adam?
Not anymore. Okay. And now I couldn't do it because I believe government is about people. So I definitely feel like if you are not, somebody had a post recently, Jason, and they had Jesus washing various people's feet. Now, I ain't Jesus, okay? But I believe as a servant, my job is to wash those individuals' feet. So I don't think that I could be a part of the Republican Party. I know I can't be a part of the Republican Party because they pride themselves on we don't need government. And I disagree. I think we do need government. I do think that there are people. I'm a product of the system. And I realize that there are many things that as bad as the system has been, if I didn't have anybody kind of guiding me, I would have probably even been worse. We need somebody to look at this thing through a lens of the greater good, okay? Because I do think that there are a lot of vulnerable people out there. Not everybody is as clever or smart or can figure out all these things. We're not all cut from the same cloth. And I think the government should take care of the people. So I can never be a part of the Republican Party because they want smaller government. They want to remove people. Listen to the hypocrisy of this. We don't want no government ran healthcare. Well, who the hell do you want running it? Like, if the government is the people, who the hell do you want run? Well, look at what the government did with the post office. No, the government didn't do that. The people who elected the leadership.
That's where Libertarians come in, Adam.
I'm still trying to figure out where Libertarians come in. What is Libertarian stance on a woman's right to choose?
I am proudly in favor of it, but we are a split group on that, I think, to be fair.
Okay.
We're working on a resolution as we speak.
What about guns?
Most libertarians believe that anybody over the age of 18 or maybe less, I don't know, that to get into it. This libertarian believes in a 3-day waiting period and a background check. And I will be told you're not a true libertarian all day, but this libertarian believes in sensible gun laws.
So you're a progressive libertarian?
Sure. I don't really like the labels, but I mean.
Hey, Adam, what would you say you are? What are you, Adam?
I didn't have too many qualifiers. I would say I try to be a pragmatic libertarian or a practical libertarian. Yeah. I don't need to argue the, like I said earlier, sort of the reinventing the universe on a deserted island and starting from zero. We're already starting with a pretty complicated mixed system, but one with a lot of, it's not that the government is, well, what you were saying earlier, that the government is the people. That's sort of a yes and no, because then it's the people who administer the government who develop something of a life of their own. And they need to be monitored and double checked on a regular basis by the voters. And that is sort of this is me sort of trying to go for maybe the most common ground possible, especially in a place like, we talk about the two-party system, but when it comes to Illinois, and especially Cook County, it is a series of locally one-party systems more often than not, than a sort of, it's not a two-party system in every township or every village. It's a one-party system that changes by zip code which party is running it. And I think that that's something that we need to help loosen up and break up. Again, sorry if I rambled a bit there.
No, that's okay. Okay. Well, if you're just joining, Justin, you joined late. I know you're a strong Democrat over there, stomping with the big dogs. What do you think of what you're hearing today, Mr. Sawyer? Justin, are you there? When Justin comes back, maybe he can answer that question. But until then, we are now at the 8:18 hour, and I love this type of rambling back and forth. And I guess we're going to have to figure it out as we move on to the next session. Ms. Matz, do you want to take us home? What are you going to give us some words of encouragement? Because the Libertarians are busy, the Democrats are busy, everybody's right. I think I'm looking at a 6 and a 9. What do you think?
I think that until we burn the house down, nothing is going to be corrected. Everything needs to be dismantled.
I agree. I think the roof is on fire. Michelle, what do you think?
I'm not a politician.
You said what, Michelle?
I'm not a politician.
Nobody's a politician. I'm not a politician.
I agree. I don't think anybody's. I'm a politician.
Adam, I agree with Trustee. We need to burn the house down and redo this all over again.
How do we do that peacefully?
How do we do it peacefully?
Yeah.
There's no peace without war. That's what the Republicans said. How do you do it?
Exactly what we're doing. That's how you do it. You no longer go along to get along, and you call people out. We allow people to move in silence, and that's how they overcome, and that's how they take advantage, and that's how they take for granted, because we are silent for the sake of the party. And when you start calling people out and letting them know that the emperor don't have on any clothes, then that's how you burn the house down.
There you go.
Well, you know what? I think you're absolutely right. I am going to be doing something real soon. I've been talking with some people across the country. Across the county, not the country, excuse me. And one of the things that I realized after losing my committee person run, that I don't need that title to be the committee person. We could start an organization right now, right here. So
what are you doing?
I will be passing some information out. I don't know what that noise in the back there, Mr. Adam, but they sound like they're about to jump on you. But I will be trying to organize some of that to try to start making that or having that conversation, because we really don't need. We can start an organization on our own and do stuff. What's up? What's up, Mr. Jason?
Well, I mean, as far as taking us home, I found a great quote the day before yesterday from Mr. John Lewis. And it says, "We have been too quiet for too long. There comes a time when you have to say something. You have to make a little noise. You have to move your feet. And now is the time." And I believe that to be true every single day. Because when I first started this whole ordeal about 2.5 years ago, I was approached by a couple of people who were very insistent that, if you want to do this, you want to run for office, you want to put your feet on the ground, you want to become an activist, don't be so loud, be quiet. And I listened to that for about a week. And then I realized they're just playing games with me. And no, nothing ever gets done when you're quiet.
No, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Sometimes the squeaky wheel gets replaced too. But nothing ever gets done being quiet. And local and regional elected officials need to call each other out. Anytime there's a problem, everybody just wants to find out where the money's going to come from.
Well,
Dixmoor and Harvey got water problems. The first thing Tony Preckwinkle says is, we need federal money. No, you need to figure out why Harvey ain't giving Dixmoor the water.
Right. Well, that's
where the mismanaged money went, instead of just throwing more money at it. Everybody wants to throw more money, and it comes from me and you. It comes from our pockets.
You're absolutely right. I was looking at, and that's interesting you say this, because I was looking at CNN. I don't know if you saw the show last night on CNN, where these billionaires in Texas now are, and this is maybe why maybe you're right, Trustee Matz, we got to burn all this down. But the billionaires in Texas are dumping money against even the Republican candidates to support candidates that they feel like are better representatives of them, right? So even if you burn the house down, do we just end up replacing it with the new tyrants?
Not if you let them know up front that, are you giving me money because you feel that I'm the best candidate to make sure that the mission is carried out? Or are you giving me money so you can control me and I become your puppet and carry out just your mission and not the mission of the whole? When you make that clear that you can't be bought and that you're supporting me because you know that I'm the best candidate for the position, then I think it's all good. But once we stop taking money because we want the title, we want the power, then I think we can serve the people. And that's not what's happening right now. And it's unfortunate, and I'm exhausted.
Yes.
That's a great word, exhausted.
Yes. Trustee Matz, you always make me feel like the end is near.
It's doomsday, Adam.
It is doomsday.
Seasons.
Absolutely.
We no longer can tell the seasons. The world is coming to an end. I'm
coming.
ready.
Right. Well, I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm going to grab a parachute just in case. Until next week, guys, this has been an interesting conversation. Adam, well, thank you again for joining us. Make sure you participate or come back and join us anytime you want. We're here every Monday at 7:00. So come on here and enlighten us about the libertarian ways, because I think a lot of people don't know, and we don't know, you can't grow. So until next Monday, guys, you guys have a great night. I will see you on the battlefield. Good night, guys.
Thank you, Adam.
Bye-bye.